I saw this about about a month ago, the day it started streaming, and I only seen the poster, but I kind of I mean I was in the movie seeing something. I look over and I saw the poster of her with the white eyes. Didn't really think too much of it. Then the reviews started rolling in, and a lot of them were like, "Going to this cold is actually pretty good." And this is one of those like cursed low expectations where I literally know nothing about this movie, and you know, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, she's a fucking robot. Oh, wait, this is some kind of weird remake of Stepford Wives. But I don't know. Like, it kind of worked for me, maybe because again, my expectations were pretty fucking low. But every once in a while, when I thought the story was going to go one way, it kind of went the other way.
Mm-hmm.
Thought she was really good.
She was excellent.
Yeah,
she is really good.
Sophie Thatcher is amazing in that.
All the guys, fucking almost, total shitheads.
Mm-hmm.
But again,
but it's
the only guys in this movie who aren't total shitheads are in the movie for about 4 seconds.
But the cop,
mm-hmm.
which is fucked up.
Yeah.
And the two dudes from the company.
Oh
right?
yeah.
Right.
The two dudes from the company are completely fine too.
Yeah.
And it's like,
but the way she turns the
tape first, I
thought
Teddy was a robot too.
When
she who was
the younger of the two guys.
My intelligence all the way. Like that's where it's like, okay, now I think I'm on board with where this movie is going. Like, yeah, she's for once, the bad people are going to lose.
Yeah, right. Well, that's kind of it's the escapist thing now. It's like she's going to,
except for the company that's actually making these things and selling them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like I said, this was her getting switched off and almost destroyed a million times. In fact, does get shot in the head.
Right.
And she gets through it okay, which is kind of funny.
But that's such a great revelation, though.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's such a great revelation, though, because you wouldn't put the fucking the CPU and the hard drive up here. No, that's stupid.
Right.
Like,
put it in the safest place.
Evolution did this. Like, you don't design a brain in the part of your body that can get whipped around like this at any moment. Like,
or things fall on it.
What they say is like, oh no, up there, that's the Wi-Fi and all the antennas.
Yeah. And you can see him like, oh. And he's like, "Oh fuck!"
Oh, there's the plot hole in this, and the thing is that struck me watching this again was, the fact that she's a bot and she records everything into her hard drive, and Jack Quaid didn't know that,
but it's in the EU.
He didn't read the sign. Yeah, I know. Nobody reads those things, which is a great joke. That's a great joke.
It's like, it's right there.
That's
it's
maybe the best joke in this movie.
It is. It's like it ties it right in.
I don't think it would be stored on an SSD on it. It would be uploaded into the cloud.
Yeah, probably has a backup every night.
Yeah, great.
But because she's been shot,
and it would get hacked.
Right, it's not going to be back.
Actually, her antennas might be fucked at the end of this movie. So she she was just probably not transmitting anymore. But
no, he probably had to physically plug into her to turn off all that stuff.
Yeah,
like you don't see that.
Yeah,
I gotta say, I'm gonna criticize this movie pretty harshly in a couple of places, and one of the places I'm gonna criticize it pretty harshly is in all the ways that you see all the mile markers in the Stepford Wives. I saw all the mile markers in this movie from the moment it started, and what it did was it made me start concentrating on all of the cracks in the film.
Right. Sure.
And it's like that scene happens behind Chris, and then the movie continues for like 25 more minutes. And the next time you really see her hand after that is in the shower. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you can tell they didn't have the money for the prosthetic or the CGI or whatever for that going forward, and they just hide it by her arm constantly being off screen, or it being dark, or
they cheated in other words,
or whatever. And it's just like, that's one of those things where it's like I stopped caring about what was happening at some point, and it may have been after she killed Sergei. Honestly, like
that's pretty early on.
Right. And I just was I was like, yeah, this is gonna be one of these movies. And
I didn't get that, Ted. I was actually the opposite in that the opening part is the most obviously sort of, for me, the thing about horror movies where it's just like, man, this dialogue's clunky, these performances aren't very good, this is so obvious. I'm trying to think, there was another horror movie which ended up being pretty good, but the first act was just, you had to get through all the setup where there wasn't any plot happening yet, and now you could really see the deficiencies in the thing.
Right.
And for me, better the further it went in. And there were some things that I didn't see coming.
Right.
I got better the longer it kept, like, and now she's gonna, she's gonna emerge triumphant, which after watching Stepford Wives, I was kind of okay with.
I can see that, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
but that's the thing, is I knew she was gonna win because of the stupid fucking voiceover that they should not have put in this film.
Yeah.
Oh, that
Yes.
hook about the day I killed him. Yes, that was dumb. I think that was
if
a
you
dumb.
just put it at the end, it would be better. But they
Right.
shouldn't have done it in either situation.
Where have
That
they
should
tested
not
it
have been
that
in
way?
the movie at all.
You're right. They
And-
should have actually,
and-
because that's all about the meet cute, which you find later on is completely artificial, and so that was interesting. In that,
You couldn't tell by the lighting.
yeah, watching it a second time, thing is, I knew what happened at the end. I was watching it and see how they were kind of burying the sci-fi elements under a veneer of like, this is normal. She's young and she's not that bright. And she's really clingy and she's really nervous. And the other woman comes to the door. What's her name? Kat.
Yeah, Kat. Your friends don't like me.
First of all, I hate Kat as a nickname. It just drives me nuts. But it's just me. It's sorry, the little personal bias. But she's ignoring her and just talking to Josh, right? And that's another thing. It's like, she's just a bitch, right? No, you find out later on, it's like goes a little deeper than that, and that keeps happening. So the builds in the first part of the film, where you're kind of slowly revealing what she really is, kind of work. I thought it was a little clunky in places, like she's laying in bed trying to say like, I love you, Josh. I'm just so happy to be here. This is great. And he's like, Iris, go to sleep, and then it cuts next morning. Yeah, and that works. I just don't buy any. I just don't buy any point in this movie where people in this age bracket in the modern era aren't just clowning the fuck out of their friends for owning a sex bot. I just don't buy that. That is missing, and also he doesn't seem wealthy enough to do something like that.
Well, he's renting it.
Well, because there's three.
That's true.
There's three real people in this thing, and two of them have sex bots, and one of them's a bitch who could care less, who's basically a gigolo to this Russian.
Yeah, right.
Right.
So it's weird. Well,
I don't think they talk about anything.
I was talking to Jared offline about this, and it says the difference between says he watched this and he realized he didn't like it as much because of the other one. He saw Separate Wives and realized it wasn't as good as this. I said, there isn't really a difference in the movie. It's actually, I think people have gotten worse in 50 years. And this film shows you.
Well, no, they're portrayed more like they are.
Maybe.
That's the thing. I think Stepford Wives is much more weirdly objective about the men in that movie.
That's the thing. These guys are just pieces of shit. This movie is the
Stepford Wives. This movie is the Stepford Wives, but you take a fucking potato peeler and you take the top layers of
the veneer
the potato off, and this is just what all those people are underneath.
That's true. That's absolutely true. Yeah, it's just a crass version of the Stepford Wives.
The other difference is that it's pro-robot. The robot is the hero of the movie.
Yes, right.
That's
the character.
That's because everyone sucks so bad.
That's exactly right. Yeah,
which is what happens when you peel the top of the potato off. You realize all these people fucking suck.
This is why I said the people are.
But I mean, it's an interesting distinction because in the other one, the robots are completely sinister and weird and unhuman, whereas she's the most.
So here's the question:
Right, they learned how to pass the Turing test.
Wait, what was that?
Right.
Wait, was that? Are you rooting?
They learned how to pass the Turing test.
Are you rooting for the humans in Westworld?
Yes.
The movie or the show?
In the movie, they are the robots are monsters. You are terrified of them.
They're just drones, basically. The thing is,
you're
they're
rooting for the humans. Yeah.
In the TV show, I'm rooting for the robots for sure.
Right. Yeah, and that's the difference.
Yeah.
The TV show's a lot like this movie, or I should say, this movie's a lot like the TV show, right down to that still that was behind you, Chris, when we started with the intelligence thing. There's a specific scene in an episode of the Westworld show where, what's her name? What's the character?
Sandy Newton.
Sandy Newton's character grabs the iPad and turns her own intelligence up. And I was just like, oh, Westworld.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But did you finish the entire series?
No, I didn't get through it.
No, I see. That's the thing.
Nobody finished the entire series.
No, because it got really stupid after a while. But it's like, back to this. It's like I said, it's interesting that this is unlike Stepford Wives. She's a really Iris is a very likable person.
She's very sympathetic,
and even though she goes through an amazing amount of changes in this thing, and but she's resourceful and all the things you want in a horror film hero. She can defend for herself. She can run from danger. She can defend herself and all that stuff like that. So that's fun. And also
But she's also the monster.
She's also the monster. You're absolutely right.
Until he's got her tied to the chair, and
he's the monster,
and he's breaking down. This is the deal, and now suddenly I'm 100% on her side.
Right.
He also makes that villain mistake where he's like, "I'm going to tell you my evil plan." Moo ha 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 ha.
He does that 3 times.
He does. That's weird. That is
well. That's because he's totally narcissistic. In fact, he's into himself.
That's true. And in fact, it's so bad that other characters are criticizing him for it. It's like, what are you talking to her? She's a robot. It's like, shut up.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
One of the only times anyone has a realistic reaction to this is a robot is the time that he's like apologizing to her and they're like, what the fuck are you doing?
Right.
He's a robot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which is like glimmer of humanity he had was that he felt a little bit bad about all the stuff that he was doing or was about to do. Right. It made me think of scenes in Stepford Wives where the husband has to get drunk to go through with what he's going to do to his wife. He's crying and like drunk and like, I really love you. I really love you.
We didn't bring that up, but that was an amazing scene.
We're marginally sympathetic, like you're a fucking asshole. You're at least thinking about whether or not you're going to go through with it.
Exactly. Right. Which is why I'm saying that people now are worse than they were back in 1975.
Well, or this movie knows Stepford Wives exists.
Yes, it does.
Yes.
And this movie specifically calls out that there are like governmental rules in place about like how you can make your robot, like which is also not a thing that exists in reality.
Right.
Tesla full self-driving.
Exactly.
Like there are people in this universe who are much more sympathetic to the robots, including Teddy. Like, and even to a lesser extent, the two, I can't remember their names.
Which one?
Gay couple. Eli and Patrick.
Yeah, Eli and Patrick, right.
Although, even to a lesser extent, Eli probably does really love Patrick.
That's true. It's more genuine than what's happening with Iris and Josh. He really loves him.
More obsessed,
that's the thing.
No, I don't even think it's obsession because like there's the moment where it's like, oh, you could have traded him for a different model and stuff like that. Like there are these moments in the movie where it becomes obvious that like even the guy from the robot company doesn't recognize him because it's an older model and nobody uses it anymore. Like he's the last guy using a 486 because he loves it.
He loves that green glow of the monitor when it turns on. Exactly. But
Windows 98.
Yeah, but either way, it's like
or the dude from the Werner Herzog movie where he asks him if he loves the robot and he has to pause for a minute and he's like, "Yeah, I do." Like you can fall in love with inanimate objects, and maybe if the inanimate object is more animate. I mean, we watched Her on this show.
We do it with pets. We can do it with machines.
True. Yeah.
Pets aren't inanimate.
Yeah. Also, it shreds the whole idea about what love is in some ways, especially what just reprograms the robot and Josh has reprogrammed the robot to love him, and it's that wonderful repeat of the meet cute with the dinosaur costume.
Yeah, that was good. I was bummed about the flashback.
The best things in this movie are the cutaways.
Yeah.
The best things in this movie are the cutaways because you have the cutaways to
The
cutaways to
the
him,
fake memories,
and the activation scene and like that.
You're talking about memories.
And the real memories too. You got the cutaways to him actually getting her for the first time and going through all of that.
I love it. They bring her in a box and they bring in 2 things of clothes. Like, oh, of course, you need clothes.
Right. The cutaway to them meeting at the party, the cutaway to the re-meeting at the party, but also the cutaways when she turns her intelligence up to her thinking about the possibilities.
That was fun.
Of what's going to happen too. And then there's that little really human moment where she gets in the car and she's like, drive home. And it's like, good plan, Iris. Like, it's like even she has fallen into this sort of delusional worldview. Like, that's the first time you see that she really is human in a certain way, is she's deluding herself in that moment. Like, the car is going to tell me I had a good idea because the car is like me and will understand what I'm doing.
That's exactly
right.
And then she gets into the car, and what does the car do? Voice ID is wrong.
Right. That's the thing about this. Like, there were those dumb little details in this movie that for me elevated it from good to great. Like, okay, that was clever.
I think it elevated it from terrible to okay.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, I think that the end of the film is a lot like a Douglas Sirk film in terms of you're not going to see the tragedy until after the final fade out. I think that Iris is going to be riding around in a convertible and waving her robot hands at people until the company catches up with her and switches her off.
Until she runs into Thelma and Louise.
Yeah, something like that.
She's gonna go run into the girl from the Alex Garland movie that everybody likes.
The Ex Machina girl.
She's gonna run into Ex Machina girl. We're gonna take over the world.
I see sequel.
6 months from now. 6 months from now, she's not going to have any fluid left in her tear ducts, and she's not going to have any fluid left in her knees or her arms, and they're going to find her stuck walking in a circle in a Walmart parking lot, or like $11.5 million in the back,
or like a tin woodsman stuck out somewhere.
That's probably more accurate.
Anyway,
I wish I think they give too much away in the poster, which was the only thing I knew about this movie.
I know, right? With the eyeballs,
like, if I hadn't even seen the poster and I walked into this completely cold, I might have
I don't know, companion.
Yeah, the thing is that the poster with the eyeballs, and they're talking about the opening bit where
the voiceover
that killed him. They're definitely they're showing all your cards before we even start the movie, which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Having said
that, they're telegraphing it so hard the poster should be in Morse code.
Yeah, pretty much.
Having said that, this movie surprised me, and I really enjoyed the shit.
No, let's do. Jared has something to say about this.
Oh, okay.
All right, Companion. I saw this movie in the theater, and I had a pretty good time with it. Upon second watch, I enjoyed it less. It feels much more slight than Stepford, almost like a TV show, perhaps. I like Sophie Tucker a lot. I really enjoyed her work in Heretic. I did too.
Yep.
Jack Quaid was fine as an everyman gone douchebag. All the other characters felt like walking cliches. I'm not going to argue with that.
Everymen are douchebags.
Yeah, the whole thing was extremely predictable and therefore a little lackluster. Even the overall look of it was playing Jane. It was very high key, the whole movie. The scene with the sheriff was fun. That was fun. And lastly, I said in the chat, in the theater, the closing song was Tragedy by the Bee Gees. It's a total banger, and it went well with their driving away at the end. They kept the Bee Gees, but they changed it to Emotion. Not a bad song at all, but it didn't have the feel or crazy good hook that Tragedy does. P.S. All movies are good.
I do like that he's listening to Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls when she gets delivered.
I know, right?
And you can tell he paid so little mind to her until she showed up that he was like, "Fuck, I got to give her a name. Fuck. Oh, Iris." Like he's that guy.
Yeah,
he
does
not
guy.
think more than 35 seconds into the future.
Right.
Yeah. I get what you
down. Right?
Basically says, I listen to you. All you do is complain about how you should be more successful and something else. I remember she had 2 really biting and very realistic criticisms of him. and I'm trying to remember where they are, but there was enough.
You play video games and you complain about how you don't get the things that you deserve.
That's
Like,
right. That's exactly right. Yeah. That was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Oh,
Jim,
no, I'm sorry. Your hobbies are bar trivia, playing video games, and complaining about how you don't get the things that you're owed, I
Okay.
believe is what she says.
That's right.
He also says that he has a smaller than average penis.
Yes,
Right.
she does. I mean, goddamn, right? That's good stuff. Jim, corner us up, man.
Yeah, I knew nothing about the movie, went into it. I watched it actually before Stepford Wives.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Interesting.
Which makes me feel a little like, having seen Fistful of Yen before Enter the
That's also most people.
Yeah, same. That would be me too.
Oh my God.
Anyway, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I mean, I don't know that I'll come back to it or anything, but it was a lot of fun.
Never watching this again.
Yeah. Okay, Grinch.
No, it's not even Grinch. There's no reason to.
Like most of the movies on this show.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I bought a few movies having watched them for the
Actually,
first
that's
time
true
on.
too. What was it?
It happens once in a while. But I
Jim, do you have more to say?
No.
All right. Well, we could.
Low expectations means it was like a pretty solid thumbs up.
It was a little. It wasn't perfect, but I enjoyed it, and I think that the performances that saved it in a lot of ways.
Great.
Yeah, more than the plot, which is like I said. I think John put it's like, these milestones, and it's that whole linear thing. But it was good. I mean, I just there it is.
It was a good yarn. It was a good diversion. I enjoyed it.